אני מאמין באמונה שלמה.
Good morning. As you know, today is the 20th of Av, which is the yahrzeit of Rabbi Levi Yitzchak Schneerson, which passed away in 1944 in the city of Alma Ata. And when he was exiled, he was there for 4 years. His wife, Rebbetzin Chana, decided on her own, she didn't have to, that she's going to join him in exile to make it easier for him, to help him whatever she could in the exile situation. So she traveled from where she lived in Yekaterinoslav, it's called Dnepropetrovsk, and she went all the way to Kazakhstan to be with her husband and help him out. One of the greatest things she did for him was she created ink and paper that he could write all his thoughts in Torah, that he was coming up with new ideas of Torah and Kabbalistic things. And she put that all together, and when she escaped Russia in 1947, when Russia signed the agreement with Poland that all Polish citizens may leave Russia back to their home after the war, many Chabad Hasidim took that opportunity to become Polish citizens, even though they never spoke Polish and they never lived in Poland. But it was an opportunity for them to leave and escape the Gehenna of Russia. And she was able to escape and had all those writings that her husband wrote in exile brought with her to America, to France, and then came to America. And that's the printed Likutei Levi Yitzchak that we have, that the Rebbe's father wrote on each parsha. And on the Torah, that's from what he wrote in exile. All the writings he wrote when he was a rabbi in Yekaterinoslav, that was destroyed by the Nazis, gone. But the writings that he wrote in exile, that his wife made ink from grass and different things and got paper and wrote, that's what we have left from it. So he passed away today. And one of the things that she said is that in exile, he kept every mitzvah to the fullest, as if he wasn't in exile. Like when it came Purim, he was the happiest Jew Purim, as if he's sitting with his whole community and enjoying the Purim festival. She was able to manage even to make him a hamantash. Like she really. So anyways, the last year when he was getting sick, they were able to organize, it was 1943 into 44, that Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, they were all able to organize a minyan, because there were Jews from other places, and they had a Sefer Torah, and he walked a mile. So she said that Yom Kippur was the most joyous Yom Kippur for him, after 4 years not having a minyan, that he went through this Yom Kippur with his whole might. By the time he came home, she couldn't recognize him. He changed his whole face. But he was so happy that he was able. And he was getting more sick and more sick. And finally, at the last day, on the 20th of Av, he passed away. The Rebbe then lived in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, in 1944. And communication from Kazakhstan to Brooklyn was very hard. So he got a telegram like a day later, and they weren't always sure, was it the 20th or the 21st? The Rebbe didn't know, but he kept the 20th. And for years, he had this doubt in his mind. Like 10 or 15 years later, he met a chassid that got out of Russia that was with the father when he passed away. His name was Rabbi Raskin. And he asked him, do you know if my father passed away on the 20th or on the 21st? He told him, I was there. It was Wednesday, like today, and it was the 20th. So, okay, he says, the Rabbi Raskin asks the Rebbe, why couldn't you ask your mother? Your mother got out of Russia in 1947. Ask her, did your husband pass away on the 20th? He says, I never would ever speak to my mother something that would give her anguish and pain, unless she brought it up. So I would never ask my mother what day did my father pass away, because then I'm causing pain. So for 15 years I had a doubt, but I didn't want to ask my mother to cause her pain. Wow, that's kibbud of aim. Why am I saying this before the Parsha? Because it says one thing in this Parsha that I just want to share what the Rebbe's father says about it. It says, V'amarta b'levavecha, koichi v'oitzim yadi aseh l'chai hazeh. And you may say in your heart, my strength and the might of my hand made all this wealth. I mean, it's all me that created this wealth and the country and everything. And the Torah says, you should remember, Ki Hashem Elokecha hu anois l'chakayach, that God gives you the strength. It's not your creation. So the question is, why would the Torah have to tell us that we might have a doubt that it's all, that we created everything? Why would a Jew even think such a thing? A Jew knows it's all from Hashem. Why is the Torah have to address a thing that's obvious? And the Rebbe's father said, and the Rebbe repeated an interesting thing. The reason why a Jew would make such a mistake is because the Torah says that every Jew is a child of God. Banim atem l'Hashem Elokechem. You're a child of a God. And the Torah says the child's wisdom and strength comes from the father and mother. Yafa koyach haben mi koyach ha'av. The power that a child has comes from the parents. The parents gives them. So all the strength that a child has, the wisdom and the strength they have, comes from the father. Since God is our father, so our strength that we have comes from our father, and that's how we grow. So you might think that since you're the son of God, you have like the power that God gave you, just like a father inherits to his child the strength. So you have that power, and God gives you strength that you can do what you want, because you're God's child. So you're like a son of God, and you have strength that you could do, that God gave you, but that it's now up to you to do what you could. So the Torah says, no, I want you to know, Ki Hashem nos l'chakoyach. Even this power that God gives you, not one moment could you live without Hashem giving you the strength to use the power. As the famous story of a very wealthy Jew in Europe, that before he died, he couldn't even pick up his pencil. It's so weak. He says, you see, we take it for granted. We think, oh, writing a pencil, what's the big thing? Everything to do is all from Hashem. So Hashem should give us the strength to realize that all the strength we have, and all the wealth we have, and all the wisdom we have, and all the abilities we have is all Hashem. It's nothing from us, and we should utilize it to the maximum in a revealed way. Amen.
אני מאמין